Action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CBS, Cardiac Broadcasting Station. My name is Evan Sexton, and today we got a packed broadcast for you all today. We're going to talk about blood pressure. So first I'm going to hand over to Kiera to talk about systolic and diastolic and blood pressure. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Today we'll be talking about systolic and diastolic and your blood pressure. Systolic is the first number. Systolic pressure is the force of the blood flow when blood is pumped out of the heart. The second number is diastolic pressure, which is measured between heartbeats. When the heart is filling with blood, your blood pressure changes throughout the day based on your activities. Now back to Evan.
My goodness, that was fascinating. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, stroke volume. So I'm going to hand over to Madeline over here, and she's going to introduce that to us.
Evan. Stroke volume starts off with venous return. Stroke volume is the amount of blood that is pumped out of the left ventricle with each contraction. It's calculated with a simple equation, end diastolic volume minus end systolic volume. End diastolic volume is how much blood is in the left ventricle at the end of contraction. Subtracting these two values gets you the stroke volume, which is measured in milliliters per beat.
Hi, that was fascinating, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Next on our broadcasting in this very prestigious network, we have resistance of flow. So I'm going to hand over to Elijah to talk about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evan. I appreciate it. Now we're talking about resistance of flow. The biggest impactor of resistance of flow would be the radius of your arterioles. So the SNS is actually the thing that influences the size of the radius. With more SNS activation, you get more contraction. So when you're exercising, you really want less activation from the SNS to open up the arterioles. That way, more blood flow can come in, equaling less resistance. The next thing that impacts the resistance of flow would be the viscosity. So right here I have the plasma and the red blood cells. So this is what, say, maybe a normal person's would look like. And then if you have a lot thicker blood, more red blood cells, less plasma, increasing resistance of flow. But if you exercise, you can get more red blood cells, but also your body keeps up with it and you get more plasma as well, meaning the viscosity is lower and that decreases the resistance of flow. Another thing not listed on this board is the length of the blood vessels, where that the farther they get, the more resistance you have. You can't manipulate those unless it's by surgery, but the equation for resistance of flow is viscosity times length divided by radius to the fourth. Back to Evan.
Now we're going to get back to our regular timed event. So now we're going to talk about the exercise point of it and how to actually do blood pressure. So if we're going to hand it over to our people over here. Thank you, Evan. Now my name is Kevin. I'm actually Evan's cousin. And I actually graduated PhD from Harvard University. So I'm going to show you how to do blood pressure over here. Come over here. So we have this fine fellow over here, this fine specimen. And now we're going to do blood pressure. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the blood pressure cuff. And is it okay if I get your blood pressure, sir?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to palpate for the radial artery. We're going to listen until we can hear the heartbeat, right? Okay, we can hear it right. So it's going to be right there. It's going to be the radial artery where we're going to hear from. All right. So we just did some exercise. So this blood pressure should be a little bit higher than what it normally is. So now I'm going to put this blood pressure cuff on him. I'm going to pump it up to 160, just to make sure the systolic can be captured in this. I'm going to use my stethoscope, put it on the radial artery like so, slowly release it until I can hear the heart start to beat again. So about at 120 is when I can hear it. And then at 80, the heart relaxes. So that's diastolic. And that is how you do blood pressure. Thank you, Kevin, my cousin over there, for that beautiful display of how to do blood pressure. Now, I must say, too, whenever you exercise, your heart has to contract a little faster. So that's going to raise the systolic number up. And diastolic is still going to raise a little bit, but not as much as the systolic number. So that's what happens whenever you exercise, like you saw Elijah over there doing that. Now, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cardiac Broadcasting Station. Have a good night. Stay safe.